George Gervin was a scoring machine. The first so-called big guard who had a combination of grace, body control, and a soft shooting touch that couldn't be stopped. Gervin's expression never changes, reporter Robert Vernon said. The only movement are his dark eyes, darting back and forth, looking for an opening to fire off another jumper. This unflappable demeanor has earned Gervin the moniker of George Gervin grew up on Field Street in Detroit, raised by a single mother. Learning the game of basketball from his older brothers Booker and Claude, Gervin played in front of street people and hustlers, gaining confidence in his game in front of a tough audience. Gervin starred at Martin Luther King Jr. High in Detroit. By his senior season, he led the league in scoring with a 31.3 average with a high-scoring game of 53 points. He was the best ball handler on the team, his coach said. He could slide by a man in a wink and was nearly unstoppable on a drive. After graduation, Gervin went to California and played for Harper's Hancock in the Summer League, while his brother Booker played at the College of the Desert. Gervin received a scholarship to play at Long Beach State under coach Jerry Tarkanian, but changed his mind about California and left before the first semester was over. He transferred to Eastern Michigan and was averaging 29.5 points a game by his sophomore year. Looked upon as a possible candidate to make the 1972 Olympic team, Gervin ruined his chances after an incident during a game against Roanoke College. Gervin went up for a shot and had it blocked by Jay Picola. The ball came back to George and they tied up for it, both swinging to get the ball free. The referee called for a jump, but Gervin pushed Picola. The referee immediately ejected Gervin, who walked back to his bench, then turned back around and punched Picola, knocking him cold. Everyone on the team, including the coach, was shocked at Gervin's behavior. They called him the Iceman because he just plays, Coach Jim Dutcher said. Nothing bothers him. Gervin later stated he just went blank and didn't remember hitting Picola. He would be suspended from the team while Coach Dutcher resigned from his post. I did something I regret, Gervin said afterward. I learned a lesson, not to lose my cool. Gervin didn't wait to see if he would be reinstated by Eastern Michigan. He began playing semi-pro ball for the Pontiac Chaparrals of the CBA. Luck intervened when agent Johnny Kerr was on hand to watch him play during a game in which Gervin hit 15 shots, standing over 25 feet away from the basket. Kerr couldn't sign him to a contract fast enough, getting Gervin on board with the Virginia Squires for $45,000. The skinny kid with the funny jump shot was introduced to his teammates by Kerr walking out to the three-point line and saying, "This is George Gervin's shot." Gervin was also one of the first invites to the inaugural slam dunk contest in the ABA.
At the mandatory under the basket. And now he has to leave 10 feet from the basket. Oh! George Gervin. Oh! George Gervin comes back strongly with that one. And now down to his last dunk.
Gervin brought his Detroit swag with him to Virginia, coming into the locker room wearing a wide-brimmed black hat, black pants, black shirt, and a full-length black leather coat. A guard named Roland Fatty Taylor nicknamed him Iceberg Slim, after the pimp who wrote a best-selling autobiography. I look back at those days and laugh, Gervin said. I was Mr. Cool, but that's the image I live with all my life. It's what I grew up with. Big cars, a big hat. Live fast, die young. People in Detroit, the ones I hung out with, that's the way they lived. The San Antonio Spurs won a court battle to purchase Gervin's contract in 1974. He would be eligible for the 1974 NBA draft, where he was selected by the Phoenix Suns, but Gervin chose to remain with the Spurs.
There's very, exciting crowd. They so much for us that they just can't help themselves. They just really show how they feel about us, and with that kind of support, we can't do nothing but win down here.
Once there, he led a high-powered offense that wouldn't win a championship, but come close to a title series in 1976, where they lost in 7 games to the Julius Erving-led New York Nets. The Spurs joined the NBA the following year, which would be remembered as the Ice Age, as Gervin moved from forward to guard. It wasn't a stroke of genius by coach Doug Moe. He moved Gervin to the position in hopes of closing the gap of scoring lost when James Silas got injured. There was worry that perhaps Gervin wouldn't be fast enough for the backcourt, but he quickly laid all doubts to rest. "Whereas I ain't too fast here to there," Gervin said. "My gig is zigzagging." In the new position, Gervin became a superstar. At 6'7", he was able to jump over the smaller guards, getting a 23.1 scoring average while shooting from the floor at 54%, one of the greatest seasons of sharpshooting ever by a guard. And coming from the ABA, Gervin felt as if he had to work harder than the next guy. "When I came into the ABA," Gervin said, "Charlie Scott and George McGinnis dominated. Then they faded out completely. One day it's gone and you never get it again. I think about that." On the last day of the 1977-78 season, Gervin was in a virtual tie with David Thompson for the league scoring title. Thompson played first that day and scored 73 points. To win the title, Gervin had to have 59. He arrived to the team bus late as usual, but teammates waited. They talked to him about giving him the chance to score as many points as he wanted. Gervin missed his first 6 shots in the game and told his teammates to forget about the title, but they kept passing him the ball. In the second quarter, Gervin scored 33 and would finish with 63 total points in 33 minutes, winning the first of his 4 NBA scoring titles.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the comeback? Yeah. Are you ready for the comeback? You know we the ones that ready for whatever. We gon' have to show them something, man. Let me see them hands up all the way front back. You don't understand that I'm doing what you can't with no cap. This is the return of the one. You ain't see him coming, you just heard drums. They've been ready for the battle. Any person that comes got the weight of the world on them. Yeah, they're too strong. I might have been down, not out. It's on sight, you gon' figure that out. And I might have been down, not out. Only one thing I gotta know now is, are you ready for the comeback? Yeah. Are you ready for the... Are you ready for the comeback?
I scored a few extra points in case their calculations were a little off, Gervin joked. In the 1978-79 season, the Spurs defeated Julius Erving and the Philadelphia 76ers in the second round. They held a 3-1 game lead over the Washington Bullets in the Eastern Conference Finals, but suffered an epic collapse by losing 3 straight. The Spurs had limited playoff success over the years as they would lose a key player in Larry Keenan, but Gervin continued his scoring rampage, leading the NBA in scoring from 1978 to 1980, then once again in 1982. Yet Gervin still didn't seem to get the respect he deserved. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird obtained numerous commercials, while Dr. J and Kareem were household names. Gervin, meanwhile, didn't get any commercials or media hype. "I guess I'm the black sheep," Gervin said. "It's okay. Life is good." In the 1981-82 season, the Spurs were now in the Western Conference and made it back to the conference finals until they were swept by the Los Angeles Lakers. In the following year, the Spurs traded for All-Star center Artis Gilmore, hoping to take some of the scoring load off of Gervin. The Spurs finished with a 53-29 record and made it back to the conference finals.
Gervin and Wilkes. Rambis. Wilkes misses and Johnson gets the offensive rebound. Working against Moore is Norman Nixon. Pat Riley told us today we need Norman Nixon to sharpen his shooting skills. The Lakers still have it. And another outside shot by Kareem. He's pulling a Moses Malone so far. Kareem the rebound. Outlet to Michael Cooper, and it's a little bit too extended. And so Gervin has it back. We have a lot of turnovers so far in this game. 5 apiece with 4:28 to go in the first period. George Gervin.
Kareem is off to such a good start.
This is the biggest lead the Lakers have enjoyed. Gervin. On Wednesday night, San Antonio had 4 players with 20 or more points. And of those 4, the lowest output was by George Gervin, who had 20 points. Into Wilkes. Good inside defense by San Antonio. Trying to come with a 2 now. Gilmore. Gets the rebound. Good hustle by Johnny Moore, who's playing with a bruised calf. Gervin with a drive inside. The Iceman to Johnny Moore on the base. Out to Moore and George Gervin.
Good assist by Johnny Moore on that play.
9-point game. Nixon. Mitchell the rebound. Johnson gets it back, and look at this. Look what I found, says Kareem. Each side has had several chances, up and down. Spurs can still narrow it to 3. Gervin. Under 2 minutes to go, as you can see. It's been a big comeback for San Antonio. They were down by 13 points early in this third period after the Lakers scored 10 in a row. And this is the closest they've been. and a big basket for LA. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Gervin against Kareem. Blocked by Kareem. Gervin again. And second effort for George Gervin, who has 19 points in the game. We've had 9 ties in the game. Winding down to 4 minutes to go in the fourth period. Long sky hook by Kareem Mitchell. Lakers by 4. Gene Banks possessing over to Moore. Out of bounds, LA ball. Saves it out to Banks. 1:43 on the clock. Moore with a fake. Cooper won't give him the three-point shot. Gervin gets 2. 4-point game, Lakers lead. 1:36 of showing. Yelling defense, and that's what the Spurs must do here.
And a couple guys you haven't heard from lately, that's Nixon and Jamal Wilkes.
Nixon driving right around George Gervin is fouled. So San Antonio did not switch effectively, and Gervin on the switch allowed Nixon to go around him. And 13 on the shot clock. Moore was in three-point territory. 9 now. Gervin drives up, scoops it in, and it's a one-point game.
And that's what you have to get. Now the Lakers have to score on this possession, because they can run it down under 24.
This is the big possession now. Nixon guarded by Moore. Jamal Wilkes with Mitchell. 4 seconds on the shot clock. And Wilkes fires up a prayer, and Moore has it with 10 seconds to go. And the Spurs, they want a timeout, and Johnny Moore will get it. A timeout has been called, and I don't think Moore saw the signal. They got 7 to get it to midcourt. 10 to go in the fourth period. Here it is. Moore. Mike Mitchell. There's Mitchell. 1 second. The game is over, and the Lakers have won the Western title.
The Lakers would defeat them again, this time in 6 games. The 1983-84 season saw the Spurs slip from the elite as they finished with a losing record amidst coaching changes. Gervin was now 31 years old. Artis Gilmore was 34. They could still score, but the squad and fans felt a need for an injection of youth. In the 1984-85 season, the Spurs finished barely at 500 under new coach Cotton Fitzsimmons. Gervin's scoring tanked down to 21 points per game, now second on the team to Mike Mitchell. The new coach often had Gervin set screens for Mitchell instead of going to the bucket himself. During critical minutes of games, Gervin was being replaced by rookie Alvin Robertson, who was a defensive specialist. The change happened almost overnight. Gervin was no longer counted on to score points. Getting old wasn't cool, even for the Iceman. Toward the end of my career, I just didn't want to see it come to an end, Gervin said. I don't know if anyone ever wants to quit. I lost my focus. In the fall of 1984, Gervin endured a bitter divorce from his hometown sweetheart and lost custody of his children. He began to miss workouts. After he missed 3 consecutive practices in the preseason, the Spurs traded him to the Chicago Bulls. In the 1985-86 season, Gervin finished with an average of 16.2 points a game, and the Bulls finished with a 30-52 record. Gervin would then leave the NBA for the Italian League, playing for Banco di Roma. He averaged 26 points a game. But in February of 1989, the ice would melt. Gervin overdosed on cocaine and was hospitalized. I was scared, Gervin said. Scared for my life. That's when I decided, really, to go and get help. If I didn't get help, I was going to die. 6 months after the hospitalization, Gervin was arrested on charges of marijuana possession and driving while intoxicated. This is just the average run-of-the-mill DWI, a sheriff's official said. The only thing is that it was George Gervin. Gervin felt that he could help fight his addiction by returning to basketball. He signed on for a stint in the CBA where he played for the Quad City Thunder. He wanted cocaine out of his life. The Thunder had a substance abuse program and sponsored his rehabilitation. Sobriety is my #1 priority right now, Gervin said. I want to play ball, but I want to live. If you're on drugs, you can't play ball. You can't hardly find out who you are. Gervin earned $600 a week as a member of the Quad City Thunder. He admitted that playing in the CBA and flying puddle jumpers to different obscure locations was humbling but an important step. People ask, "Ice, are you rich?" And I say, "Yeah, baby, because I'm rich at heart," Gervin said. I will always be in the athletic fraternity, that's in the history books, but I want my legacy to be that I love people. Gervin then received an offer from the Portland Trail Blazers at the age of 38. I was too old to get a 10-day contract, Gervin said. If I hurt my ankle, it takes a month to heal. A team in Barcelona, Spain called me with a $100,000 offer. I said, I'm old, so I'll take it. In Spain, he played for the TDK Manresa team and averaged 25.5 points per game for the season. In his post-basketball career, Gervin developed a youth center, a nonprofit facility which offered programs for troubled and disadvantaged young people, including a high school for at-risk students, a shelter for runaway homeless and pregnant teens, a job program, and drug intervention and mentoring. Now clean and sober, Gervin remarried his wife. With George, there's a lot that can be learned, King High School coach Benny White said. He's followed a road that only a strong person could survive, and shown that, with faith and hard work, nothing can stop you from being great.